This video is on my unfiltered thoughts on Anthony Richardson and the media's criticism that is completely unfair to the kid. I am completely okay with somebody saying he quit on the team. I'm completely understanding of somebody who says, hey, he's a quarterback, he can't get out of the game at that point. I've never seen that, blah, 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 blah. What I do not respect is you cannot say that without telling the whole story. Nobody's in that kid's body. What if he was in the danger zone? There have been a whole bunch of tragedies in the last 20 years of NFL players. I'm not even talking about college and high school, because we've all seen those one-off stories about a kid being dehydrated, about a kid being exhausted, something happening with his heart. It was an irregular heartbeat, and then not there or not here anymore. You look in the NFL 20-something years ago, there was an offensive tackle for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm not going to say his name out of respect for the family. He did not make it. And it was because it was in the summer and he was exhausted. Go look it up. You look, like 2 years ago, if that, Damar Hamlin, he got hit in the wrong spot for his heart. So you want to criticize the kid and not say fairly, I'm not in the kid's body, but I don't think this should have happened. If he was out of condition, okay, I can respect that. But let me say this. Would you rather say, oh, he quit on the team, he can't do that, or thoughts and prayers to the Indianapolis Colts and the Anthony Richardson family? What is that going to get his family? He is a professional athlete running for his damn life. The only fair criticism I heard was from Brian Flores, who is the Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator. He said if you looked at the plays before, he threw off a 300-pound man like it was nothing and had to make a play. And that, my friend, is the difference between offensive linemen and quarterbacks. I can appreciate Damien Woody getting up there saying, we don't come out the game, we can't sub out the game, da-da-da-da-da. Understood. You are running in a 7-yard sprint, either 3 to 4 yards front or 3 to 4 yards in the back. And depending on the play, you might run upfield a little bit. Then you have some delay to recover and catch your breath. I completely respect that. That is true. A 12, 14 play drive, offensive linemen generally do not come out of the game unless they are hurt for some reason. That's great. But when you run, it is measured running. All right, that's the only point I want to make. It's measured running. You need to pull and hit that defensive end, or you need to take care of this tackle in stunt, or you just need to move one 300-something pound man or whatever from one point to another. That is a lot of energy. But the thing is, you are measured running to this man and hitting him with violence. The difference, the quarterback is running for his damn life. Okay, he is running to make sure that he doesn't get tackled. So he is running to the top of his capability, and that is not necessarily true for offensive linemen. You're not running to get away from somebody trying to tackle you. It is a chase for the quarterback, so it's a different type of running. And by the way, that same 300-pound man that you had to move, that you didn't block, he had to throw him away and then start running and try to make a play. So in this moment, he is exhausted. He feels that, I don't know if he feels this way, but if he felt that he could pass out, I have no problem with him coming out of the game. None. I want to be fair to the kid. If he needs to have better conditioning, which it may have seemed, but let's back up. For that play before he decided to come out the game, that's not a general play for a quarterback. Nobody's doing that. That's the thing that people aren't understanding. Patrick Mahomes is not throwing a 300-pound man off of him. Dan Orlovsky, who is one of the worst quarterbacks to ever play for the NFL, journeyman, is up there saying, I wouldn't do that, da-da-da-da. You couldn't do that. You could not do what he did the play before. You run around and go out of bounds for a safety. I mean, that's who you are. But with that being said, that's not a typical quarterback play. So I can understand him being tired and exhausted. And for me, to be fair, if he felt that he could not go and he was absolutely putting his life on the line, that man got a family. He a father. What you gonna tell his young babies? I get so sad, and this is not a comparison trait. I'm just saying I get so sad when I see older kids that remember their fathers, NFL fathers that aren't here anymore for whatever the case may be. I don't want that for that young man. I'm not saying that's what happened, but that is a very much possibility, because no one has asked the question, has that ever happened in Anthony Richardson's career before? My venture would be no. He is a freak athlete. Of course, he's probably in a good condition. And maybe he's not where he should be, but he's in a good condition where he's a freak athlete. He was drafted number 4 overall. The man knows how to take care of his body enough to play the quarterback position. But you add in these very special, unique plays where he tries to make a play for the Indianapolis Colts and puts his body on the line. Can somebody put their mind and tongue and thought process behind him before condemning the kid? At least be fair about it. You got the Rex Ryans of the world. You got Shannon Sharpe. And, I mean, I respect their opinions. One's a Hall of Famer. One's a long, long time offensive lineman that say you can't do that. But I guarantee you somewhere in their career, it is more likely that they subbed out of the game for being tired sooner or later. And they want to hold the quarterback to this high regard. I'll never forget Saquon Barkley earlier this year. He had a 30-yard toss to the left that he broke. They went to him the very next play. This is when he was at the Eagles. I think he had a 5-6 yard gain, and he gave it to him again for a third time. He only had a 2-yard gain, and he subbed out the game. He asked to come out of the game because he was what? Tired. It's a different type of run. He is running. People are chasing him. He's running at the top of his ability. You can't sustain that. And by the way, this was like the first quarter. So it's not even in the fourth quarter. This is the first quarter, and he's asking the sub out of the game. That has nothing to do with conditioning. It has everything to do with what kind of energy you expended during the play. And that's what happened. And you don't want this person to have a heart rate that's going through the roof. He can't calm it down, and yet you're asking him to go out there to call a play. Is what it is. And I respect Anthony Richardson for being honest and saying, I subbed out because I was tired. Most people said you should lie. Most people say you should have faked the injury, all this other stuff. But he stood on it, and I respect that for the most part. Now, I do respect the fact that, hey, you could be out of shape, but who am I? Who are any of us who aren't NFL players to say that? So I'll leave that to them.